Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be Attractive Men Do What They Want. So I've got an email success story from a guy. He's been following me, I guess, about for the past year. And like a lot of guys, he found my work after he had a bad breakup with his girlfriend of 3 years. Started studying my work relentlessly, obviously learning my first book, 3% Man, as well as Mastering Yourself, my second book. Started applying it. Things started improving in all areas of his life. And he quickly got his ex back. And then they were together for, I guess, about 3 or 4 months, or maybe it was 6 months. And then he finally, because he continued watching my videos and really kind of looked at her behavior and determined that she was kind of toxic and I guess she belonged to the streets. So he dumped her, and he writes in about a first date that he had. In other words, a woman he went out with, it was the first girl he's been on a date with since he broke up with his ex. And obviously it's a good success story. So I wanted to share that because it's Friday, and who doesn't like good success stories to help keep you guys motivated and excited, and also so you can learn something and get better. Because that's an important thing. You want to have fun, and you want to learn something so you can get better. So the quote says, attractive men do what they want, when they want, and with who they want. True alpha males answer to nobody. They are motivated by a core set of personal values, principles, and a life's work that is exciting and compelling to them. They set and enforce healthy boundaries and do not tolerate toxic or low integrity people. They are loyal friends, teammates, and lovers. They make the world a safer and more stable place for everyone. They are funny, humble, and are always looking for a reason to have fun and learn something. Even when things go sideways, they eventually always rebound and come out better and stronger on the other side of dark times. So this is kind of like the Chronicles of the 3% Club. The guys that have made it there, they've become very proficient at applying what's in 3% Man and Mastering Yourself so they can be totally self-reliant and they create the life and lifestyle that they want, that's pleasing to them. Because the most important person you have to answer to is yourself. And you're the ultimate judge and jury on the status of your life. Your opinion of your life is what matters most. And it needs to be the most important one because you do what you do because of you and your own motivations. You're not going to be happy if you try to live your life according to other people's expectations because somebody's always going to be getting upset. There was a post this morning. It's obviously it was about gun rights because obviously that's been in the news a lot lately, and we posted it to Instagram, and you guys can go check it out. But I'm not gonna go like some of the guys. I just roasted some dude in the comments, and he's all butthurt, and I guess he supposedly considers himself a coach or whatever, and he's obviously not pro-gun, and so I took a blowtorch to him in my comment, and you can go there on my Instagram at Coach Corey Wayne and see it. But I'll just read the quick little quote here before we get in this email because because my assistant posted this first thing in the morning, and I'm going through the emails and figuring what I'm going to do for a video topic today. And this quote I was one that was posted last week from a guy named John Hayward. He's a writer for Breitbart News, and obviously he's pro-gun. He has the same views as I do. And I thought it was a great quote. It was actually part of a thread of his. And the quote, the one we posted, was, gun control is a prayer to the state, a religious ceremony in which fanatics pretend they can eliminate crime with just a few more social programs, a little more control over society, and a few more restrictions on what the stupid masses can do. And it kind of sums up how the people that are making all the laws and rules look at the rest of us. It's like we're just a bunch of dumb morons that are too stupid to know what's good for us, and we need to be told what to do. And unfortunately, a lot of our fellow citizens believe that kind of commie propaganda that they put out, and that we will just have the perfect society if we just sit back and do what we're told. And so when somebody comes into my social media and posts something so stupid and ignorant, and you can tell a guy's probably never picked up a gun in his life, doesn't know the first thing about it, but yet he's an expert, he's going to tell me how I should and shouldn't be living my life, I'm going to roast him. And so I had fun roasting him just because I'm living and speaking my truth, and I don't care what he thinks of it. I don't care if he unfollows me. It's like, I know everything about that guy based on how he reacted to the post. And it was fun to roast him. I like it. And so go check it out at Coach Corey Wayne. But anyways, with that mindset, it's like Steve McQueen said, I live for myself and I answer to nobody. I'm going to live and speak my truth, and I don't care what people think. That's what being a man is all about. And if you can't deal with that, it's like, go cry somewhere else. It's like, I don't care. I don't need that soy-lennial nonsense in my life. So with that said, I'll go through this guy's email. He says, hey, Coach, thank you for everything that you do. You have really changed my life, and I cannot be more thankful. I'm 29, and like many others, I stumbled upon your work after a horrible breakup. We were together for 3 years, and I was devastated. Yeah, breakups are no fun for anybody. Not enjoyable. That's why it's so important to make sure before you get into a relationship that could potentially lead to a breakup that you do a good job of pre-qualifying the person you're thinking about getting serious with. Because otherwise you get burned down the road, you have nobody to blame but yourself. That's part of what self-reliance is all about. It's all on me. We did a podcast recently with a buddy of mine, Bobby, who's in a wheelchair. He's paralyzed from the nipples down. And we talked about everything, girls, dating, sex, the difference, the way life is now versus the way it was before. And he's like, he was drunk and he'd been doing some drugs and he was messed up. He was on his motorcycle. He had no helmet on, pulled out of a gas station in front of I think it was a Ford F-150 pickup truck that was pulling a trailer. And he got run over. And he didn't even see it come. The guy was going like 50. And he just pulled out, maybe going 10 miles an hour because his depth perception was way off, obviously. He got run over by the truck and the trailer on top of it. And I'm not going to give away all the details because it's a really interesting podcast. We're working on editing it. It was all shot in 4K. I got a really cool expensive setup that we put together for like a podcasting setup with 6 different cameras and mics. And we're still working the kinks out. Like sometimes we kind of screwed up the lighting or the microphones, or because everybody's getting used to using the camera switcher system and all that stuff. So we're slowly working out the kinks and we're in editing it. So I'm excited for you guys to see it because he's brutally honest, like I am, about everything. And he says, hey, it was all my fault. It wasn't anybody's fault but my own. I did it to myself. And he takes ownership of it because until you take personal responsibility for everything in your life, you don't really have control over yourself or your life. Because then you can always say, well, it's not my fault, it's somebody else's fault. And so when I encounter people that want the government to take care of them and the government to be their mommy, it's like I don't have a lot of respect for that, to be honest with you. Because I'm a self-reliant man and I don't need anybody telling me what to do or how to live, especially by these schmucks that are passing all the laws, these morbidly obese, out of shape, overweight, just absolute morons that say the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life, and they think they're going to dictate how we should be living. It's like, I don't think so. So anyways, he's back to our email. He says, I have had many long-term relationships, but when they would end, I always messed up getting them back. I would try to fix it like us men do, and it pushed all of them away. I started working out and bettering myself and applied what you said. I watched every video of yours on how to get an ex back, and within a month, it went from her telling me she needed space to her chasing me again. It worked. I got my girl back. Well, like I often say, even if you think I'm full of shit, if you just read what's in my books and you apply it, and you can read for free at understandingrelationships.com, you will see that it works for you. And that shaved head dude on YouTube really actually does know what he's talking about. And I can give all my stuff away for free because I know it works. Because once you see that it works, you're like, you're going to come back and buy a book or do a coaching session. I mean, the reason why most people don't do that is because they can't say that about their work. Something to think about. So he says, fast forward 6 months, I left her. We had a toxic relationship, and I stayed in it because I thought it could work out, but you helped me to realize she is who she is, and I deserved better. Yeah, it's not your job to fix people. It's not your job to save them. You got to participate in your own rescue. And all you can do is gently lead and guide people, but if they're going to fall flat on their face and not follow through, it's like, well, that's on them. It's not on you. Like the guy that was crying about the gun post this morning on Instagram was like, I don't care. I don't care. Cry more. He's an ignorant fool and knows nothing about, doesn't know the first thing. He's not even qualified to open his mouth. He needs to sit down, shut up, listen, and learn. And watch the documentaries that we did on the Second Amendment. But I digress. So he says, during the first breakup, I listened to your advice and tried to date other women. On my first date, I was fucking James Bond. I let her do most of the talking and asked her the right questions. The quality of everything in your life is in direct proportion of the quality of the questions that you're either asking yourself or the other people that you're chatting with. I was flirty and confident. We had a few drinks and then drove around in the country a bit and parked by the lake at night. After making out for a while, she told me she doesn't have sex in the first night. And I just kind of smirked and said, okay. I had her naked in the back of my 4Runner shortly after. 3% Club. It works. Sorry. Not sorry. As a guy, because as a coach, if you're teaching self-reliance, your goal is to get people to the point where they don't need you anymore. And sometimes when I do phone sessions with guys, they're like, well, what about a package for ongoing coaching and doing more sessions? Do I get a discount for that? I was like, no. It's like, you book sessions as you want them. I'm happy to help you as much or as little as you need it. My goal is to get you to the point where you don't need me anymore. That's what a real coach does. If you're teaching self-reliance, you don't want your clients all dependent on you and needing you. They might like to come back and watch and continue to learn and keep their skills sharp. But, if a big meteor came down and landed on my head, I want people to be able to continue on without me. That's what self-reliance is all about. You must love in such a way that the person you love feels free. That means including in your business, in your life, in your friendships. You give to people who deserve it, and if they embrace it and they grow because of it, awesome. If they don't, that's okay too. Last night was the first date I went on after leaving my ex. I had already kind of known this girl, but never hung out with her, and I got a message from her saying, hey, how are you? We went back and forth for a couple of messages, and I asked her if she would want to hang out sometime, and she replied yes, and so I made a definite date and time and told her I'd pick her up then. She does not drink alcohol at all, and so my choices were limited, and I thought ice skating would be a good idea. It worked out well for me because that was our first time ice skating, and being the hockey player I have always been. So this is a brilliant date idea. Especially, I can't imagine how good skaters, hockey players are, and you got a cute girl on a date that's never been on ice skates. It's like, she's going to have her hands all over you. It's like, it makes it easy. Being the hockey player I've always been, we spent time holding hands and talking while I made sure she did not fall on the ice. Hang out, have fun, hook up. I stuck through with my promise. She told me that night that she has never had a guy be so confident and just say, okay, we're going to hang out on this day at this time, and I'll pick you up then. She was extremely attracted. Long story short, we hung out, had fun, and hooked up that night. Boy, that's a real surprise. I've watched hundreds of your YouTube videos, and I'm almost done reading The 3% Man. I am going to read it at least 10 to 15 times after listening to all of your advice and executing it. I have gotten extremely great results. I guess you didn't read my books as much as I thought you had. So you were cherry picking from the videos, and don't do that. Because what happens is guys do like exactly what you're doing. You're like, hey, I'm getting laid. I read the book once. It's like, I got this. And then 3 or 4 months later, when they need all those relationship skills they didn't bother to learn, and they didn't bother to learn the process that was in here, they're like, Coach, I need an emergency phone session help. Don't do it. Don't be that guy. I get lots of phone sessions from them, And they pay me well, but it's unavoidable. But I'm happy to help people as much or as little as they need it. He says, all 3 girls that I talked about were 10 out of 10 bombshells. And it's amazing how I had to do very little work and had them chasing me like crazy. Because there's so few men, real men in the world. Most of them are just fucking boys. They're little boys that don't know anything about anything. Thank you so much again for everything you do. You're one of my heroes. You're a real life hitch. Much love, Bob. Well, congratulations, Bob, and welcome to the 3. Well, I guess you can't really officially be in the 3% club yet, even though you had a few success stories, because you got to get through the book. You got to know the material. So maybe I spoke too soon, but you're doing great. Proud of you. And so if you have a problem or a challenge in your personal or your professional life and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.